Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live. I'm joined by Steve, Kate, and Jerome Marks. How you doing, boys?
Yeah, good. Very good, mate. Very good.
Still sitting top of the league. 5 points clear. Game in hand. Eddie is cupping his ears as he's listening to the doubters and he's silencing them. Big win on the weekend. What a game. I mean, just going off the atmosphere that was going down where Jerome was. Jerome, what was your thoughts on the game on the weekend?
Well, it was a much anticipated game, obviously, for loads of reasons. And I mean, the first couple of minutes, that sort of set the tone, really. It was like the most electric start to a game that I can remember for ages. I know we started quickly against Newcastle, but it was just such a quick start from us. Obviously, when Rashford scored, which was a quality goal, by the way, I thought, this is going to be hard now. Like, I just felt so flat. But obviously the team didn't, the supporters in the stadium didn't. And we got a goal sort of straight after.
Yeah.
Obviously, to score the winner so late in the game, like, I didn't think it was coming. You know, I was looking at the clock, like we probably all were, thinking 80 minutes, 85, like, there's not a lot of time left now. But just such a good feeling. And
but they kept on pressing, they kept on going. They were going for the winner. They weren't trying to sit in and take the draw. They were going for the win. Basically,
the first half, I thought was, I don't know about very even, but they looked dangerous. They looked very dangerous. United, especially with Rashford. But in the second half, it was basically like you do in a training game, attack v defence. That's basically the game in the second half.
They didn't have any answers in the second half.
No.
Yeah. Steve, still flying high from Sunday's win. What's your thoughts on the game? It's 2 days later.
Yeah, I mean, still buzzing over it. I get what Jerome was saying. Like, when Rashford scores, you just, you get them nerves, and you wonder like how the game's gonna pan out. But when you think about it, we should have more trust in our team, really, shouldn't we? Because how many times have we should know that if we go 1-0 down, we just know it ain't going to bother them. We just know we're going to pick up where we left off, and we know we're going to get in. And 9 times out of 10, in the next 15 minutes, we've equalised. So, and we've done that so many times this season, and we did it again. I thought United in the first half, I thought they was okay. I don't think they was as good as what people keep making out. I thought we took the game to them. I thought Rashford was excellent in the first half, but apart from that, they had nothing apart from Rashford. If Rashford weren't there, I think we would have been talking out probably a 3-0 win. But he was excellent. He gave Ben White a bit of a torrid. It was definitely one of his lesser games. I wouldn't say he did anything wrong, Ben White. He just come up against a guy on form. But I mean, I think Joe, I don't know if you agree, but something that Arsenal haven't had, which is really pleasing for me, especially the way I like to play my football, is the fight and the passion that some of the players have got. I mean, they've all got it, and they show it in different ways. But when you look at players like Zinchenko, and you look at players like Granit Xhaka, and you're looking at players like Gabriel, the days of this soft underbelly, that's gone. And it even sort of filters its way down to players like Martin Odegaard, who you wouldn't come across as someone who likes to give it, get stuck in, but he's doing it. He does it. Ben White again. I didn't know, although he didn't really have a great game against Man United. He's doing it. Zinchenko was outstanding. I just think the way we played the game and the second half, there was no one in it really. I thought Martinez's goal. I thought it was lucky. I thought they was lucky to get that. I thought they was very, very sort of, that was one that bounced. It bounced up, and then it bounced again, and then it hit the bar, and he nearly had it off the line. It was one of those ones. But overall, mate, and then at the finish, I mean, like you already said there, Kim, we just kept going and going and go, just like we do every single game, going and going. And Manchester United could not live with us. They could not live with us. Yeah, just so many different aspects of that game that we could talk about tonight. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, no, definitely. One thing I wanted to touch on, Jerome, is Eddie Nketiah. 4 goals in 6 games in Premier League. Got another one in the cup as well. He's I think his record's something ridiculous, like 20 goals in 24 starts. And he's already taken over, 1 goal away from Gabriel Jesus in the Premier League. Is it time that people started respecting this kid a little bit more?
I think these few games, especially yesterday, probably is like the turning point for Eddie. I think. I think Southgate was there yesterday, wasn't he, at the game?
Oh, was he?
I believe so.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay. I know there's been a bit of to and fro with Eddie in terms of which country he's going to choose to represent. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the English strikers that have won caps recently, like Ollie Watkins, no disrespect to him at all, but
past game, they've got no answers.
No, they've got no one else. They've got no one else really. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, these are players that are basically the backups to Kane. And what Nketiah is doing at the moment, he's thrown his hat into the ring. If he wants to play for England, then I wouldn't be surprised him getting a call up in the next squad. And you've even got Arsenal fans now discussing, when Jesus is fit, should he walk back into the team? Like, could you imagine having that discussion like at the beginning of the season? You wouldn't have even spoken about that. It's if Jesus is fit, he plays, but now he's made that a discussion.
We've got it already. I think we got it now. I think we got the discussion now.
Yes, exactly. He's brought about this discussion. Like it's something that Arsenal fans are talking about. He's overachieved. He's gone over the expectations, I think.
What's your thoughts on the situation with regards to when Jesus comes back? Does he come in the team, or is it for his opportunity to hold his shirt and Jesus has to fight for his place?
Well, the
appearances.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like a long-term injury anyway. So I think after those types of injuries, people tend to maybe come back a bit slower into the first team. So that probably helps the manager out a little bit, because as soon as Jesus is fit, he's not going to start that game and play 90 minutes. So it's a great dilemma to have. Like it's brilliant, and I think they'll share the minutes. I think it will take a few games for Jesus to get up to speed. But if Nketiah is banging in the goals, like he has been doing and playing well, it's a great headache for the manager. And I'm sitting on the fence, as you can tell, Kieran, because
you've not given me an answer yet.
Basically, I don't know, and I don't think the manager knows. I don't think anyone knows. I don't think you can say definitively one way or the other.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Steve, what's your thoughts when Jesus comes back? Does he get in, or is it a case of Eddie holds the shirt?
Well, I ain't got no doubt in my mind that he holds the shirt. You know how I feel about our players on form and if they're playing well and what I feel should happen with them. And I think Mikel Arteta is the same. I think he thinks the same way. If he's doing what he's doing now, you can't drop him. You can't drop him. I dare say Eddie's has got the type of attitude, which I feel that he has, that if he did drop him, I don't think he would sulk. I think he'd be disappointed, but I don't think he'd be, he'd drop his levels any differently.
Mm-hmm.
But we said when Jesus came in, and not many people did, because I can understand a little bit, what people thought about Eddie Nketiah, but he's proving people wrong. We knew, I think, Kieran, we knew about this progression. You mentioned progression a little while ago, but I think the progression started at the end of last season, when he started to come into the side and score a few goals. I think he started to play well, and I think he got his contract off the back of that. I think he got his 5-year contract and his big wages off the back of the way he performed last season. Arteta obviously sees something in him. He had a bit of game time, right? He's had a look at him. He's been training every day anyway, and he said, "Right, I don't need to go and buy someone else. You're my guy. I'm going to pay you accordingly, and I want to put you on a big contract because I want you at Arsenal." And Jesus has gone down with injury. God forbid, we never thought it would happen, but he did. Sod's law. But he's come in, and arguably, you could say he's done better. He's doing better or the same. They're different types of players. But for me, you can't drop him. I think it'd be very, very unfair to drop him. I think it would be a bad look on the rest of the squad if you did drop him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not necessarily with Arsenal, because I feel that maybe that we've got this certain mentality than other sides where they're all together, and if they did they'd be supporting Nketiah will be supporting Jesus. You see Jesus on the pitch after the game when we beat Man United. He was on the pitch there, and he was hugging Nketiah. He was hugging the players. Biggest smile you would have thought he'd been at Arsenal for 10 years. This guy, he's been there just a few games and got injured. Unbelievable. So no, I don't think he should be dropped. And just on the, the about when you mentioned about, he's got some time. Well, before Christmas, I was told that we was looking at the Leicester game, and Jesus was at the game on Sunday. Spoke to someone and told him that he'd be back to 45 weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was just, you know what? I'm going to pull it up. Because it's a good moment where he goes around, hugs all the players. Might as well play it, eh? Massive moment. And you see Jesus going up to Eddie as well. There you go. Saka. And then Eddie comes along now. There we go. Boom. Reece and... Yeah, Reece and Gabriel Jesus. It just shows the sort of camaraderie we've got in the team, the togetherness. One's not playing, doesn't matter. It's all for the team. When Zinchenko's in the stands, he's cheering louder than any fan I've ever seen. It's infectious, and everyone hates it. Every other fan hates it, and I love that. We're getting under the skin of pundits, other fans. Like the last 20 years have been other fan bases trying their best to take the mick out of Arsenal. Banter FC, ain't done this, ain't won a trophy in 10 years. Then we go and win 3 in 4 years. People dismiss that because it's the FA Cup. Still Banter FC. Finish 8th, but still win an FA Cup. Finish 8th again, Banter FC. Finish 5th, we see progression. We see things changing. Still Banter FC. This season starts, still Banter FC. So when you hear people annoyed, when you hear people's reactions, Arsenal fans need to do this, Arsenal fans need to, we're just getting under their skin. It's just winding them up because we're not doing anything. We're actually being quite humble with it. We're actually being quite chill because we know it's only halfway through the season and anything can change. Anything could change. So we're not turning around and going, we're winning the league, we've won the league. We're not doing that. We're not silly enough to do that.
They're telling us we're winning the league.
Which is why they're coming out and saying Arsenal fans need to do this. Arsenal fans need to act like they're favourites. They need to stop being this, stop being that. It's all so they can dictate, so they can say, so they're not. So if things don't go right, they can then turn around and dig us out again. Don't fall for it. It's why I said enjoy the journey, because it's important that you're enjoying all of this before, all that's happened. Because you imagine if you were sitting there pulling your hair out, being Arteta out still, but sort of just angry at everything. If you was that, just not enjoying it, not in taking it in, worried about this and that, you've completely missed all of that. That's half a season. Lost one game, drew one. That's outstanding. This is the best points tally Arsenal have ever had in the Premier League at halfway. Outstanding.
Have you noticed, Kieran? It's like a compliment, then a backhander. Well, in with a compliment.
So I'll get onto that in a second, because there's actually something that's popped up on that one, and we'll definitely get onto that.
Well, one thing I do want to quickly say, Kieran, I just think big up, in case I forget, big up Luke Shaw. Big up Luke Shaw. Because he come out after that game, and that interview he gave was like, fair play to him. He just come out and said it how it is and what happened on that pitch, and just bigged up Arsenal left, right, and centre. The commentator was trying to get to him to say certain things, right? But he wouldn't have it. He was going, look, this is Arsenal here. They're different category. They're levels. You can't. But and some have been giving excuses, and it's sad. It's sad, really, because they did quite well.
Yeah. Look, Luke Shaw wouldn't have had the leg to stand on the other day, because he got absolutely rattled. He got absolutely ripped apart. Like, he did well at points, but Saka was unreal. Saka was a different class the other night. Just unstoppable. Quickly on something we spoke about. Is it time to come back in over Ben White? Is it we give Ben White more time? What's the coup here?
God, it's hard to base it just off of 45 minutes. I mean, you could make an argument that Ben White's been the player of the season for us this season. I think he's done very well, Arteta, to bring him off at half time, because the last thing you needed against United is to get a player sent off and on a yellow card against United's most dangerous player. Like, I think with the quality of Tomiyasu on the bench, perfect, bring him on. Don't take any stupid risks. So I think that was a very brave and good decision by Arteta. Is it time to bring Tommy back in? Maybe he'll play on Friday night, perhaps. But I think that he has been, let's not forget, he's been different class, Ben White. But maybe, look, we were talking about Nketiah as well, and these players, most of them have played like every game. Like, I'm sure at some point they're going to be due for like, come out of the team for a few weeks, just have a little bit of a rest, like, rest your body a bit, rest your mind, and then we can put you back in. That's what Guardiola's been able to do with a lot of his teams the last few years. He'll take players out for a few weeks, you won't see him, and then he plops them straight back into the team. So, but if he does come out of the team, Ben White, I wouldn't read anything negative into it. Maybe he's due for a rest, perhaps. That's all. Yeah.
Steve, what's your thoughts on Ben White? Stays in the team?
Yeah, for me, he stays in the team. Look, as Jerome said, you could say he's been our best player this season, most improved player, whichever way you want to look at it. He's a centre back who now looks like he's played at right back all his life, and he's been excellent, and he's come up against a lot. We've spoke about it on his show before. A lot of left wingers where he's had them in his pocket. He just come up on the day against Marcus Rashford, who is in
player in the league, or one of
them. Yeah, one of them, and it was just one of them things. So I think to actually dropping for Tomiyasu would be, a bit harsh. I mean, if we play in the next game and we think he does look a little bit off, I'd certainly rest him for the game coming up. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't play him in that. I'll definitely give Tomiyasu a game in that. But which is good because he obviously get a bit of game time ready if he feels that he does need to bring Tomiyasu in. But I wouldn't against Everton. I'd start him. And I ain't got no worries. It was just on the day. Again, like Jerome said, the booking must probably played a good part. It probably forced him. It probably give him a little bit more of an excuse to take him off. But I'm glad he did take him off because not really because of the roasting he got by Rashford or the better Rashford got of him, but because of the yellow card. I was more pleased with that rather than the way Rashford played against him. Arteta would have got into him at half time and said, look, do this against Rashford, do that against Rashford, or he would have said someone to come over and protect Ben Whitemore or whatever. But the yellow card, I think that was the main reason why he come off. Arteta does. That's not his style to bring people up at half time because they've had a rough first half. I know my manager, and he wouldn't do that. But I wouldn't bring him up. I just wipe that clean. Didn't happen as far. Just go again, Ben.
Yeah. So I thought we were very lucky to get back to 2, or Arsenal definitely deserve 3 points. Must have been a great game for the neutrals. Mr. Lowen. Simon says he's got to fight for his place back. That's on Gabriel Jesus. Question here: would you not buy a striker in the summer? Steve, I'll start with you.
Would I buy? No, never in a million years. Definitely don't need a striker.
So you'll stick with the 2.
Yeah, we've got Jesus who plays down the middle. We've got Eddie who plays down the middle. What you gonna? You bring another striker in? What are you gonna do with him? I mean, I just don't know what you do.
Have more than the 2 though.
Yeah, but it depends what type of striker you're going to get. If you're talking about a young player who wants to sit on the bench, what we're talking about? Someone who plays down the middle, like a Jesus in their position.
Mate, that's entirely up to you. That's the question.
I'm assuming that's what the question. What Garth's, what he means. Would I bring in someone instead of Eddie Nketiah? Not in a million years.
But take away the would you bring anyone if Eddie Nketiah? Because you could say, okay, I wouldn't bring in a centre forward, but I'll bring in someone who could play along across the front 3.
Yeah, well, we got Trossard now. We got Trossard. He plays on that left. He'll cover Martinelli. We've got Smith Rowe who can play on the left. No. We do need a right-sided player, but that's a right-sided player. Maybe you can, give Xhaka a little bit of rest. That's really what we do need. So that wouldn't be a bad thing. If you're looking for a right-sided winger type of thing who plays in Saka's position. If we're talking about someone who plays down the centre like Eddie or Jesus, no, we certainly don't need someone in that position. And we certainly don't need someone who plays on the left because we've got Martinelli and Trossard. So, yeah, if the question's we're talking about a right-sided forward winger type player, then yeah, someone to help Saka would be unbelievable. But yeah, we'll see.
Jerome, would you bring in another forward in the window?
I think it'd be hard to bring in like another out-and-out centre forward. Like you've got 2 out-and-out centre forwards in Jesus and Nketiah, and then you've got a couple of players that could play there. Like Martinelli could play there, Smith Rowe could play there, and Trossard could play there. I think most of the top teams have the same. I don't think most of the top teams have 3 out-and-out centre forwards when they play one up front because there's not enough minutes to go around basically, unless midway through the season you pick up a very bad injury and maybe you might need to sign someone on loan in January or get someone in the summer on loan. I just don't think there's enough room for another out-and-out centre forward, to be honest. I think 2 with the other options, I think that's enough, unless you get injuries.
What would you do with Balogun when he comes back? Send him out on loan again?
Maybe they'll try and sell him, perhaps, because I think if he comes back, I can't see how he gets any minutes. And you can't keep all of them, so they're not going to sell Jesus. They won't sell Nketiah unless they get a ridiculous monster bid from someone. But he's on big wages, so no one's going to pay Arsenal 50 million plus 100 plus give him 150 grand a week. So that's not happening. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's any room for Balogun unless he is top draw. I don't think he gets ahead of Nketiah or Jesus. So maybe they'll look to, like you said, send him out on loan or try and sell him.
I think if worst comes to worst, they can play Martinelli down the middle as well.
Yeah,
but we're talking about if Jesus goes down injured, if Nketiah goes down injured. I mean, you've got to be very unlucky, haven't you?
What would you do with Balogun?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how he's doing. And I haven't kept an eye on him.
Well. He's the third top goal scorer in France, isn't he? Just behind Mbappe, and he's having a ridiculous season.
Well, I mean that would be even, that would be even bigger reason for Arteta for us not to have a centre forward or a striker, whatever. Because if he's doing that well, I'd actually forgotten about him, to be fair. But look, he's part of our squad. He's an Arsenal player. He's already there. So if I would keep him, I would hope to keep him. I would sit him down in the office and try and keep him stay. He might say he knows he's not going to get in front of Nketiah and Jesus. So for him, he's got to accept what he would be. But if he's hitting that type of form, and if we're not not to sort of put the boy down and say if we're desperate, but you know where I'm coming from. And if we lose them, we would be desperate. But yeah, I mean, the more the merrier. If he can stay, and he's happy with the wages, and he's just happy to be part of the squad, then I'd like to keep him. But I think, like Jerome said, I think it'd be hard. I think it'd be an hard one because he probably could come back and start at quite a few Premier League clubs if he's on this type of form.
Yeah, he's currently got 10 goals and 1 assist in 18 games in France.
Wow.
I think he's still third in the list.
We're spoiled.
Yeah, we are. He's done really, really well. So he's dropped down a little bit. But look, above him is Ben Yedder at Monaco, 11 goals. Neymar, 11 goals. Mofi Laurent, 12. Jonathan David, 12. And Kylian Mbappe, 13. So he's only 3 goals behind one of the best strikers in the world. So he's not having a bad season at all. So there's a lot, not a big dynamic, but there's a lot of food for thought for Mikel Arteta and Edu, whether they bring Balogun back and loan him out to a Premier League team or a team in England. Whether they sell him, whether they bring in another striker, bring in a young striker. What is it? It's plenty. What we do know is they're going to be going for focusing on Declan Rice in the summer. Jonathan asks quickly, do you reckon a right back or a centre back will come in before the transfer window? Well, that Fresneda is they've got the agreement, haven't they? But it's just whether he wants to join Arsenal or not. But he would be loaned back to Valladolid, wouldn't he? Yeah,
he would. Yeah, he would. He would. There's already been an agreement for 30 million. That's been agreed with Valladolid, and the agreement is that he will be going back on loan. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were saying that Dortmund would probably be the better place for him because he's got more likely and more chance of starting for Dortmund because they've got Thomas Meunier there, and he's not pulling up trees at the moment, and the other guy that they've got is I think he's injured. Okay. So, but that's not, again, that's a conversation for Dortmund and Valladolid, because they do want him to go back on loan. Arsenal will sell it, will put him back on loan. Uh-huh. But whether he fancies having a start for Dortmund, and then he may go there. But that, again, we'll have to wait and see. His decisions in his hands at the moment. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Granit Xhaka wins Swiss Player of the Year. Big turnaround for Granit Xhaka. Before we go to Steve, we're going to go to Jerome on this one, Jerome. Granit Xhaka, Swiss Player of the Year. What a year he's had, Jerome.
Amazing. Such an important part of this team. He's made himself undroppable. Basically, like a lot of the players, to be honest. But obviously, this type of system that Arteta's playing, he needs people to do very precise jobs. And what Xhaka's doing, there's no one else in this current squad that can do what he's doing. I think his level of experience that he's got as well is massively crucial. And it's going to be very interesting, like with Partey, when the day comes when both of these two aren't at Arsenal anymore, the types of players that are going to play in those two positions, because this is his system now, Arteta. And no idea who he's going to replace them with, whether it's 2-3 years' time. You could make Xhaka's story at Arsenal into a film, into like a Hollywood film about this turnaround, what's happened with him. He went from literally rock bottom, like lower than rock bottom, if you can get lower than that, to being like, he's sort of like a cult hero now at Arsenal. Amazing. And he's done well to win this award, because I'll tell you what, the centre-back that Man City have signed,
Akanji.
He's decent. He basically plays every game for Man City. Considering all the centre-backs they've got, he plays all the time, and he is a decent player.
Very intelligent as well. Like, he's a genius outside of football. He's a proper...
What, Akanji?
Yeah. He's like a mathematician. It's ridiculous. Right. They just did some maths to him. It was like, 1 million times, and he was like, he's like a calculator. Yeah.
I know. Look, to win the Swiss Player of the Year, there's not maybe as much competition as with other countries. But I tell you what, when it comes, if he replicates his form the next half of the season, he's another one that's in the shout to win the Arsenal Player of the Year. And look at the players that he's going to be up against for that award. So yeah, all credit to him.
Steve, Xhaka wins Swiss Player of the Year. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, brilliant. Congratulations to him. He deserves it. And my first comment was going to be, he'll probably win Arsenal Player of the Year. Because Jerome's already said, he's become a cult hero, and he hasn't, for like, people are looking at him this season because we're top of the league, but last season he was outstanding. Last season as well, he was excellent, and where Thomas Partey was out injured quite a bit, he had to hold the fort on his own, and he did really well. But yeah, I mean, I've always liked him, as you both know. I've always seen the quality that he's got. I've seen the mistakes and the giving away, just like you do, like other Arsenal fans have seen. But I've seen other things in his game. I've seen him play at Switzerland. I knew what he was about. Arsene Wenger said he was undroppable. Jerome said he's undroppable, which is an even bigger compliment than the big man. But he's been outstanding. What he's done this season as well, he's just gone up in other levels, playing in the position where he wants to play, and he just brings so much to the football club on and off the pitch. You look, he plays in that number 8 position there. I mean, Tielemans, we was all saying, people were going on about Tielemans. Tielemans for me was always a backup. I mean, I wouldn't swap Tillemans for Xhaka, not for any money in the world. So, but yeah, I mean, what on the football pitch, he can do. He can do everything. He can defend. He's a good tackler. He's good at long balls. He can put balls in channels. He can score goals. He's got an incredible shot on him. His passion. And he loves Arsenal Football Club. And I'm so pleased that everybody now has seen, and after, what he's capable of. I'm so pleased for him because some of the abuse that he got was bang out of order. What happened at Palace, and he went off the pitch, and there was elements that he shouldn't have done it. But again, if you're a human being, you understand it. I would have probably done that as well. But yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic all season, and he's like another captain, isn't he? He's our captain with Martin Odegaard. So yeah, I can't praise him enough. I won't go on. I could go on, but yeah, just so pleased for him that he's turning Arsenal fans around.
Yeah, and I know you say what kind of player he was, but he wasn't showing it, and when he did show it, he wasn't showing it enough. So, but the last since Mikel Arteta's come in, he's changed him. He's changed the way he plays. He's made him more mobile, which some would say wasn't even possible. He's on his toes more. He's just a better player. Mikel Arteta has made him into a better player. And on top of that, his mentality has taken him up probably more than what Mikel Arteta thought that he could. And that's a massive testament to him as a person, because anyone that can take the kind of abuse that he got, blind criticisms that he would get once he was turning it around, because there were people that no matter how well he did do wouldn't say it, and now he's had to double down on his put in some solid, consistent runs of performances that he has been. It's then turned those people, and it'd be very hard to turn them around now. So yeah, he's a absolute battering ram of a player who has very good attributes of any sort of top technical player out there. So yeah, Granit Xhaka fully deserves Swiss Player of the Year. He's been absolutely outstanding for us the last couple of seasons, and yeah, long may it continue. I have to talk about this because I spoke about it weirdly a couple of weeks ago. Gary Neville promises to sign Arsenal petition for Sky Sports ban after Manchester United comments. There was complaints that actually came in about Gary Neville and his commentary style, basically claiming that I think one of Gary Neville's comments was, the 47-year-old was not shy in sharing his opinion on incidents throughout the game and was particularly strong on the yellow card handed to Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta. He was quick to criticise Arteta for acting like a man after Luke Shaw fouled Bukayo Saka in the first half. And I said it last week before. I don't want to watch a game where every single thing that Gary Neville says is tinged with an arsey comment or some backhanded compliment. Like nothing he says is genuine. It's always through gritted teeth, or it's because someone else has done it. It's not quite us, it's the other team. And it's just getting a bit boring. It's just a bit annoying. Like, people pay the subscriptions for these things, and you've got someone who's not being impartial or unbiased. He's being biased because his team, the team that he supports, is currently 2 places behind us or 3 places behind us. And he's been selling it that they were a better team than us from the start of the season. Which, if you're selling it that they're a better team than us at the start of the season, it means you hadn't seen any progression in Arsenal last season. In fact, you made a point of saying many a time you think Mikel Arteta is in trouble. The Arsenal fan base were not thinking that. And that's what I mean about you don't watch us. You're not watching us. You're not seeing progression, whereas we are. If you saw at the end of last season and you're saying Mikel Arteta is in trouble because of that bad run we went on, not taking into account that we'd sold our striker, Aubameyang, Partey was injured, and Kieran Tierney was injured. You didn't take any of that into account. You just fully doubled down on this is a poor run to the end of the season. He ain't got it as a manager. I'm worried about him. I'm worried about Mikel Arteta. And so this season, what is it, a fluke? No. And now that you've been made to look silly, yeah, like you didn't see what a lot of people were seeing, you're now hurt by it. So you're just hoping. You're hoping and praying that Manchester United, that not only Arsenal fall off a cliff and don't win the league, that they come third. Mid-season predictions, Gary Neville has got Arsenal as Jamie Carragher has Arsenal to win the league. Steve, what's your thoughts on Gary Neville's third spot for Arsenal and the petition that Arsenal fans want to strike up to stop him from commentating on Arsenal games, which I actually, apparently no Arsenal fans have started the petition, so I actually got one started now. I've just got to add all the little bits and bobs, so I need to see whether it's actually up there, and if it's not, my one's going about.
I'm embarrassed for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you see the Monday Night Football where he was talking about Arsenal and making these predictions, but I almost have to cower and turn away from the TV, because it was like cringeworthy for you. Stop. Just stop. He's making himself look like an absolute idiot. And it must be embarrassing for Manchester United fans to think a legend of their club, is acting this way. I understand at the beginning of the year what he thought where Arsenal would finish outside the top 4, right? Fine. If that's your opinion, fine. That I ain't got no problems with that. But as the season goes on, Arsenal are the best team in the Premier League this season, right? And that is instead of City, right? We keep getting told by him the next test. What will they do when they play Man United, who are the most on-form team in the Premier? What will they do? We beat them. What we do when they play Liverpool, we beat them. Oh, wait till the North London derby. We see what Arsenal do when they come up with Spurs. We do that. And how much more does he want to see? We got 50 points in the first half of the season. If we do this again, we get 100. I've seen City play this morning. I don't care who Gary Neville was, but he was a good manager, weren't he? At Valencia. So what type of person are we listening to here? I feel embarrassed for him. I feel sad for him. Because the night again, when he Monday Night Football last night, it was like, will Arsenal could. They could do. They might do. I don't think they will, but they might, but they could. What if this? They've got to play City twice. What will happen when they play City? Do you think Pep's over the moon that he's going to play Arsenal?
He's not. He's not. You can't listen to Pep's comments.
Thick as 2 planks. Do you think Pep Guardiola is sitting at home going, oh, right, I've got Arsenal in a couple of weeks. Right, the result is, let's have a look. Oh, it's at home. Right, I'm over the moon for that. Do you think he's honestly thinking that? He is absolutely panting it. Right, of course he is, and rightly so. I would be if I was in Pep's shoes. I'd be panting it. But he comes up with this utter rubbish, and Gary, it's embarrassing, and you're embarrassing your club, you're embarrassing your fans because he's making himself look like an idiot, and he's got to stop. And as far as the Arsenal games goes, that is ridiculous. I mean, out of the sky, I've just got to put. I couldn't believe he was commentating on the game. I was just thought, I knew what was coming. I didn't even know. I knew what was coming, but
at first I was kind of joking,
sorry,
fucking Gary, come on. Like this is not enjoyable to watch. Gary Neville, like especially when you're playing well, your team's playing well. I had to listen to Gary Neville for the past few seasons talking rubbish about Arsenal when we've been playing bad. This is Arsenal. They need to sort this out. No leaders, soft underbelly, blah blah blah, rah rah. Snore, boring. Yeah, like all the nonsense that you want to come out with. Yeah, all right, cool. We weren't in a good way, but now we're playing well. Like the best we've been playing for years, and nothing good comes out of your mouth. Nothing. It always seems to be after someone said something or after someone's corrected it. Oh yeah, but come on, Gary. Oh no, I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying I don't think they will. And look, I've not got a problem with people saying he thinks Man City will win the league because I still think Arsenal fans out there there's probably Arsenal fans who still think Man City.
It ain't that part. No.
It's just an opinion. It's purely is the commentary of the games and the fact that you've turned around and said what you're essentially saying is Manchester United can now still win the league. Because if you're saying Arsenal will come third behind Manchester United, you're saying Manchester United could still win the league, which is, I mean, it's not mathematically impossible, but mate, get down the bookies, son. You're absolutely clean up. They will take your money.
Joe. I tell you not. Sorry, Joe. Again, you're right. It's not the matter that we know we haven't, like we said at the beginning of the show, we're not saying we can win the league. We know what Man United can do. We know we don't need to be kept being told. Right. But when you see, even if we just imploded, right, and Man United went on championship winning form and never lost a game to the end of the season, right? Even if it happens, you don't embarrass yourself by saying what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Man United are 11 points behind Arsenal. Arsenal have a game in hand with a superior goal difference. So add that 11 points, add another one, add 14, and then add a superior goal difference, and add 17. And then, but then he comes up with that, and he puts in, and unless you're an absolute dope, right, that he's having a go at you. He's just having a pop. This is embarrassing.
He is. Jerome, what's your thoughts on Gary Neville's comments or his commentary when Arsenal are playing?
I'm quite lucky because I'm not in England. I don't get the Sky Sports commentary, but I heard a little bit of the commentary, and even like Martin Tyler sounds upset now when Arsenal score. He doesn't have the enthusiasm in his voice when a team score. He sounds like, Arsenal scored. Anyway, with Gary Neville, I think when he first started at Sky, to be fair to him, I thought he was okay. He's obviously so pro Man United that I think he knew when he first started that he had to sort of maybe overcompensate a bit and try and be a bit more sort of neutral in his opinions. But with his latest one, what he's come out with in terms of United finishing above Arsenal, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But when you give your opinion, you need to base it on something. I think he's basing his opinion on, he thinks this is the Arsenal of Mustafi, Kolasinac, Socrates. It's a totally different team. Like you take all the, firstly using your eyes, looking at how we've played this season, but you add that to all the stats, such as Sunday, 26 shots from Arsenal to 5 from United, or 6 from United. Like you had all these measurables, all these statistics. Like I don't know what he's basing his opinions on.
Because he's doing what a lot of Man United fans was doing previously and saying it's Arsenal because it's Arsenal. It's Arsenal, and that's all they say. Yeah,
look, he's obviously. I think it's more of what he wants to happen more than what he thinks will happen. maybe he's trying to be a bit controversial. That you don't know. Sometimes these people, they say things to get people going, but I'm sure he takes a lot of personal.
No, it's a wish, Jerome. It's a wish.
I think
you don't say, do you? You when you're 11 points behind the team at the top of the tree, who has lost one game all season, you don't sit there and say, "Oh, hold up, we could catch them." You wouldn't say it, would you? You wouldn't.
Not
even
just
if you
wanted
them,
it. This is a prediction that Manchester City will win the league. Manchester United will come second.
They might.
Arsenal will come third. That's his prediction.
Yeah, I don't know. He's probably been slagging off United half the season as well, saying that they need this, they need that. This player's not doing it. But honestly, a lot of these professional pundits, I promise you, this is a lot of reason why people listen to podcasts and other things, because they're fed up of listening to these people, because they talk a lot of rubbish. He's basically talking rubbish. Whichever way you want to dress it up, he's talking rubbish.
Or he's insulting us, or he's insulting us, thinking that he's insulting us, Arsenal fans. He's insulting Manchester United fans by coming out with these comments, because he thinks they want them to believe him.
He's not a clickbait merchant. He wants to be right. He's not going to say something about Arsenal because he knows he's going to get a click, and he knows that in a couple of weeks' time everyone's going to forget about it and he's going to have another hot take. He's not that guy. He is where he is now because of his credibility. Because when he says something, you're like, do you know what? Actually, no, I rate that. No. He's giving an insider's thought processes on the games and things like that. He's adding a different element. So he rides off of the back that actually Gary Neville knows what he's talking about. But when you're coming out and saying things like you are now, again, you're entitled to your opinion, but you're not giving Arsenal the credit when it's due straight away. It's always tinged with something, and it's getting, you're getting a bit tired of it. It's a bit boring. But when Gary Neville, another person who was asked the question yesterday, what have Arsenal or Mikel Arteta proved so far? Arsenal.
I don't. I wanted a nice quiet night tonight.
No. Don't be silly. Jerome, go to you, Jerome, first. Stuart Pearce said Arsenal proved nothing. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think he's right in that? Do you think there's an element of what he's saying is right? Perplexed you right now.
Who said that? Who said it?
Stuart Pearce says Arsenal proved nothing and they need to win the league to prove themselves.
I'll tell you what, if Arsenal have proved nothing, then we might as well just forget football, because no team's proved anything. So another one talking a load of rubbish. What does it mean haven't proved anything? You want us to win the league after 19 games? Is that what they want? When you're going through a season, you can only play the games that are sort of in the fixture list up until that date. You can't go and win the league in January. So what does he want Arsenal to do? Does he want Arsenal to, I don't know, get their most amount of points they've ever had after 19 games, lose only one game, compete with teams that have been flooding English football with the most amount of money we've ever seen, where like states are owning football clubs? What is he after, Stuart Pearce? Because if you're having a dig at Arsenal, which is what he's doing, then he might as well have a dig at every other team in the league and every other football club on the planet. We've got we hired Arteta. His first job, he's come in, he's changed the whole playing squad. The stadium now is absolutely rocking, and we've got people like Stuart Pearce having a pop at us. Go on, Stuart, you're drunk.
You've had enough, mate. You've had enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I'd like him to answer the same question about Eddie Howe, because I'm not sure it'd be the same answer if he was to ask if Eddie Howe's proved anything at Newcastle. I'm sure he would say, "Oh, he's proved that Newcastle aren't just fly." Like, do you know what I mean? I'm sure he wouldn't say they've proved nothing. Steve, what's your thoughts on Stuart Pearce's comments that Arsenal have proved nothing?
Go on, Steve.
Oh, dear. I'm beginning to think all fullbacks are thick. They don't know nothing about football. You know, I think this is the guy, Stuart Pearce, who said Dennis Bergkamp would be a waste of money.
Oh,
I don't know if you both remember that.
Yeah.
Nice one, Stuart.
Yeah.
Can't be. And did he say this on TalkSport? I don't know. I don't even know if he's on TalkSport.
Yeah, no, he is. He is on TalkSport. He is on TalkSport.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I just thought this is a typical TalkSport person. This is where Gary Neville's next job should be. Just go and join this lot, Graham Souness and all. But look, I mean, what more have we got to do? We've drawn one game against Newcastle, which we should have won. We got beat by Manchester United, where we a lot of people said we should have come away with saying or even won the game. What does he want us to do? We've got 50 points the whole season. Mikel Arteta's proved it. You know, he's saying like, maybe with Arteta, he's saying, or maybe he ain't proved nothing yet. He ain't proved nothing yet. Is he kidding me? Is he kidding me? You know, this guy, we've got ridiculed for signings that he's made. Look at him now. Look at the signings he's brought in. Look at the teams he's gelled. People were slagging off White, Tommy Ashew, Ramsdale. You know, having a go at them. Oh, what a waste of money! What a load of crap! Did you see the amount of money that our players cost? You know, to the Man United. I think ours was just about come to 200 million. Yeah, it was incredible. You know, but
he's wrong. He's wrong to say Arsenal have proved nothing. Look, he may have been thinking in terms of Arsenal have proved nothing. What with regards to winning the league? Like that's the only thing you can say, because Arsenal proved, well, Arteta has proved that he can develop players. He's proved that he can turn a fan base which was at each other's throats to a cohesive fan base is singing off the same hymn sheet that gets the team win on. I was watching a video of Charles Watts yesterday, and he says he's been going for Arsenal for years, and he said that I think you said it as well, Steve, even in the Invincibles era, the connection between the fan base and the team has never been like it. He's never said anything like it. And I'm hearing it more and more. More and more people are saying it. That's Mikel Arteta's doing. Like, to say that he's proved nothing, it means you're just not thinking. It means I feel like you was ready for that question. Like, it's just...
You know what will happen? We'll win the league, and all these people will say, well, you didn't go unbeaten, did you? Like that.
Yeah, no. It's going to be something. But look, they whatever happens, there's still going to be something labelled at Arsenal. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
But kids, do you like? You know, we've always said that. You know, we've said it for years and times. But we've always said that people don't like Arsenal, and other fans have gone, "Oh, come on, you know, stop. You know what you're on about. Do you know what I mean? You're just an excuse. You're just imagining it." But people never have liked Arsenal. I mean, when Man City were winning the league, and when Liverpool were winning the league, my God, every single person on the planet, every radio person, every pundit, they was kissing their asses, didn't they? They kissed their ass, and our Arsenal were doing just as good as them, right? And at the top of the league, right? Then
you've got a problem with our celebrations.
They've got a problem with everything. Richard Keys, he's always on about it again.
How often does Klopp run down the pitch?
Yeah,
celebrating, arguing. Jose Mourinho, celebrating, arguing. Yeah, it's all right. It's passion. It's passion.
You said it, Keys. You said that they know. Other fans don't really say much. They just let it go. We go ape shit when someone, you know, but we go ape shit for the right reasons. Yeah, you know, when people talk shit or says something that's just totally way out there, then we'll come at you. We'll put you right. Yeah. And I think even fans from other clubs are now seeing it.
No, they are. They are.
You know, they're looking, they're seeing it, and they're going, "Yeah, how can these people be saying this about you? You've lost one game all season. You're playing the best football in the Premier League. Your players are outstanding. You know, you've not got one bad player in your whole team, but you've got all these pundits and commentators and whatever having a go at you. Well, maybe there was something in it.
All right. Quickly before we go, Jerome, you had a little look at our new signing, Jakub Krior. What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah. So look, I know sometimes when we sign players, people say he can play this position, he can play that position. I think he's a left centre back. I think it'd be very weird if he plays any other position for us. And saying that, the player that's in his position is Gabriel, and we know how much Arteta loves Gabriel, and he's been amazing for us.
They needed to bring in a backup left-footed centre back, though, didn't they?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think this might smell the end of possibly Holding for next season, maybe. So I think we'll have enough centre backs with obviously Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, this guy, Tomiyasu can play there. So the obvious thing is obviously he's a left-footed centre back, 6'2". He turns 23 next month, and he been playing in Italy for about 1.5 years. And he, in terms of comparing him to similar players that we know about, I would compare him. I'd say he's a taller version of Vermaelen.
Okay.
Reminiscent of that type of player who's very aggressive,
very good. Yeah.
Not sort of built like a Vidic, a bit sort of maybe tall and skinny perhaps. So he might have to bulk up a bit. But he basically, the first time he sort of played with Poland, Lewandowski come out and said, like, who the hell is this guy? Like, he's top class. Like, he really made a big impression on Lewandowski. And you can see when you watch clips of him, he's very calm, and I think he's going to be very similar to the centre backs that we've already got in terms of Saliba and Gabriel. Very calm on the ball, very composed, but have that physical edge about them as well. Very quick across the ground. I just hope we can see him play a bit. He seems to have got like the long and short passes in his game. Got a Cruyff turn in him. I just hope we'll see him play, because obviously Gabriel he's got that position sort of down on lock, hasn't he?
He's played every game, isn't it? He's played like every game.
I think he's played I think he's got like a record, like maybe 53 Premier League games in a row or something, Gabriel.
That's ridiculous. Like that, he needs a break. Like, he's playing Europa League games, Cup games, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Needs a rest. Like, the guy needs a break.
What's good about this new signing is that he's come from a club, Spezia, who probably not a lot of people have heard of. So we've bought him before he's like maybe very, very well known, reached the top club. So it's quite a shrewd signing, it looks like. So, but yeah, really interested to see him play in our team and see how he gets on for us.
Yeah, he's decent. Really, he's really quick, isn't he? He's so quick. He's like over 10 yards. He's lightning. So he'll probably be our quickest centre back that we've got, without any shadow of a doubt. I see some clips and that, and I did ask some people like connected with, who knows Poland, who knows him play, seen him play, and they big him up big time.
Yeah, I think with the centre backs that we've got, Kieran, I think because we like to play up the pitch, I think Arteta's happy to leave a bit of space in behind, and so the players need to be able to run. Basically, they need to be mobile. So that's probably another reason why I brought him in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was saying he's played 7 games, didn't he? He's played every game in the World Cup.
That's it. Yeah,
I do remember him.
He played every game in the World Cup, and he did. Apparently he did very well. I don't really remember him from it, but apparently he did really well in the World Cup. I don't think it'll be the end of Holding. I hope not. I'd like to think that Holding would be Saliba's replacement and Kiwari would be Gabriel's replacement. Because he does play on the right, doesn't he? Holding. Maybe
it depends what happens with this guy from Valladolid with the right back. Because then if he's an option for next season, then maybe you might see Ben White play centre back a bit more, perhaps on the right.
No, he's going out on loan, mate. He's going out on loan straight away.
I mean next season.
Right, I'll see.
Yeah, perhaps we'll
I'll
see.
see.
I don't know.
Because that'll be Cedric gone at the end of the season, surely, and then it's it remains to be seen, doesn't it? I'd probably say Holding will probably stay. I'd like to see him stay just because I love the way he's around the team. And with Mikel Arteta was even calling him one of the captains in an interview recently as well. So he's very highly regarded.
Yeah. And I did see someone say on a podcast, I can't remember where I said it, and I did laugh and snigger about it. They said that, when it's like 5-10 minutes to go and you bring Holding on, that's a wrap.
But Holding himself,
game over. That's it.
Holding himself turned around and said, I'd love to play more. I want to play more. But if my role at this team is with 10, 15, 20 minutes to go to come on and shore it up and we finish the game and win, I will happily do that for this team. And that's what you want. Do you know what I mean? Yes, you don't want players sitting there saying, I'm happy to not play. Like, he wants to play. He wants to play, but he knows there's a role. He's got a role in this team now. Now, it might not necessarily be starting, but you've got to make sure you're professional off the pitch. You've got to make sure you're teaching the ways for the youngsters. You've got to make sure you're hyping players up when they need it, giving them an arm around the shoulder when they need it. And when you come on, you're giving it all. You're as good as the ones that are on the pitch now. And he knows that. So, I want him to stay.
And hopefully we get a good cup run as well, and he'll play in the Europa.
That's part of it. That's part of it. That's part of it. Whether we've got Trossard, Kidior, Holding, it's having that extra layer of quality now. Yeah. Whereas previously we had, and it's no disrespect to these players, Joe Willock instead of a Trossard, Campbell instead of a Trossard. We had Ainsley Maitland-Niles instead of a Kidior, or do you know what I mean? So we're bringing up players at competition. We're bringing up those standards, which will then raise the standards of the youngsters that are wanting to come through, because they ain't going to get into the team if they're not good enough. And we ain't going to blow smoke out their asses just because they're youngsters. They will play because they're good enough, and they will have to play to the level of these players that are around them. And the better the players they are, the better the level the youngsters will go to. All right, that is all we have time for. Thank you, everyone who's joined us in the comment section. Simon, Jonathan, Russ, who else here? Garth as well. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Steve.
Yeah, pleasure, mate. Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Thanks. Cheers.
All right, we've got a big game on Friday. It's the FA versus Manchester City, the first of the trilogy that is that will decide not only the FA Cup, but it will decide the league this season as well. Make sure you come and join us for the post-match reaction. Make sure you subscribe if you are new to the channel. If you are regular, smash that like and smash that share button and smash the copy. Peace out, people. Stay safe. Wash your hands.